Hello everybody and welcome back to part 4 of the Excel VBA Business Simulation Live. We're looking at the Monty Hall problem and we're now on part 4. So today we're looking to finish this model. That's what we're going to do in today's stream. We're going to have a couple of exciting kind of pre-announcements in today's stream. And let me tell you one thing straight away. Tomorrow we are streaming live, but tomorrow is going to be our live launch party. I'm going to be having a beer. That's what I know. I hope you'll join us. It's going to be at 7 p.m. UK time tomorrow. 7 p.m. UK time. A little bit later than usual. Maybe not so good for our Asian viewers. A little bit better for our US viewers maybe. And we're going to be launching a new product then, launching a new website, launching our new branding. It's the culmination of about 3 months of work over the summer for me. Thank you, Jasmine, for saying that you can see me and hear me, by the way. And during this stream, halfway through, 2/3 of the way through, I'll tell you about the training course that we're going to be releasing. But if you like what we've done in this series, where we've created a little simulation, you are going to love what we've got in store for you. So with that said, we're covering the Monty Hall problem, so let me know in the chat, have you decided yet? I imagine you have decided if you watched yesterday's stream. Are you staying or are you switching? But if you're tuning in for the first time, this is the Monty Hall problem. So it's a game show situation. There's 3 doors, 1 with a prize, 2 with nothing. You choose a door. The host opens a different door, revealing nothing behind it. You're then offered the chance to change your choice to the other door, not the one you chose originally and the one that the host did not open. Should you switch or should you stay? Should you switch or should you stay? So that's what we've been covering this week, and we've pretty successfully created an Excel simulation model that you can see here that has allowed us to simulate what is going on. So if you're watching on replay, maybe skip ahead a little bit if you want to go into the kind of main part of the modeling. We're going to see how we can integrate VBA to better control this model and specifically to make it regenerate, to make it run, to run a number of iterations when we want it to do that. Because at the moment we've got the random numbers in there running riot. Every time we calculate, the model is going to run. We might not want the model to calculate. That's the important point. Who is with us today? Let's see who is with us today. We've got the chat viewer up, 12 people watching, 4 likes, 13 people watching, people piling in here, fantastic. Let's scroll up the chat here. Andrew, welcome. So Andrew, thanks for sending your model in. Andrew is one of our Members Monday members. There's Members Monday Facebook page, members on there posting, exchanging information, posting files, getting opinions and feedback from people. So well done, Andrew, for doing that. Jasmine is with us. Welcome, Jasmine. How are you doing? Nathan's with us. Nathan in Australia. What's the time where you are then, mate? What is the time? I know Andrew's over in Perth, I believe, Western Australia. Who else we got with us today? Ian Reeve tuning in. Ian from Battle. I don't mean Ian's come from a battle. I mean he lives in Battle, which is what famous battle took place near Battle? That's my question for you today on the stream. Carlos tuning in. Carlos, haven't seen you for a while. How are you? HD Merkins tuning in. Have I seen you before, HD? Let me know where you are watching from. Good to have you with us. Shane tuning in from Wisconsin. Good to see you, Shane. Thanks for tuning in. Nikki's with us. How you doing, Nikki? How's it going? Much nicer weather, Nikki, up here in the East Midlands. How are things down in Bromsgrove? The Barker House are back for another instalment. Fantastic. Good stuff, Tony. I think you've tuned in every day this week, so thanks for your support. And Jasmine, Jasmine saying, I would love to have a drink tomorrow to celebrate. That's what we're going to do, Jasmine. We're going to have a couple of beers and we're going to have a special guest on the stream and we're going to do some fun stuff. Somebody is going to play the Monty Hall simulation for real, for a prize. That's the kind of thing we're going to be doing tomorrow. It should be fun. Welcome to Azim John, just tuning in there. Welcome, Azim John. Where are you watching from? And DC tuning in from Missouri. 19 people watching with 6 likes. Fantastic stuff. Okay, so back into the model. As I just mentioned, the model is pretty much complete and we've got our analysis up here, but we've got a lack of control over the simulation. What causes that? Well, every time Excel calculates, if you want to put an input into a cell, Excel is going to calculate. Every time that happens, we can see the random numbers regenerate and the model reruns. That might not be preferable. We might be doing an analysis. We might just want the static values for some other reason. So ideally, we would have a button in the model, and go ahead and create one with me. Developer, form controls. A button in the model maybe up here, hold down the Alt key to lock to the grid lines there. You can just hit cancel for now. Have a button here to run the model. So I'm going to edit the text here and let's just say run model. Here we go. And in this case, run model isn't quite accurate, is it? Because we've got what? 100 iterations for the model. So let's say run 100 iterations. 100 iterations of model. Shall we have an exclamation mark? Add some excitement there. There we go. I don't recommend that on client projects, putting a lot of exclamation marks in your spreadsheet unless you're trying to concatenate a sheet name and a range. Oh, going into the technical jokes already, not good. Steve's with us. Yes, Steve, my brother is watching, and Steve was with us on Members Monday a couple of weeks ago talking about how to do presentations about Excel, how to do a really compelling presentation. We had a great session. It was a bit hot in the office. It was a hot day, and me and Steve, one thing we can do is sweat. One thing we definitely can do is sweat. It was a hot and sweaty but very productive live stream, I would say. Good to see you, Steve. Betty tuning in as well. Welcome, Betty. So the question is, how do we integrate VBA to better control this model? Well, a few stages to go through. Firstly, where are the random numbers? They're problematic. The regeneration of the random numbers, that's driving the rest of the model. We can see that when we hit the F9 key. So we've got random numbers here in column C, random numbers in column D, and then there's one more use of random numbers, which is in this formula. Yeah, you have to be on the ball to spot this one. In this formula in column F. Do we have any other random numbers in the model? I don't think. So we've got 3 applications of random numbers there. So using VBA, if we can generate those random numbers somewhere else in the file on a supporting sheet, generate those random numbers and then copy paste them in to the model, we can then get that process to run when we click this button. That in theory gives us full control of when the model runs and allows the user to fix the model if they want to fix the model. That's my proposed approach. There's a number of different approaches, all with pros and cons. And I know Andrew has built the model and integrated some VBA. So let me know, Andrew Button, if you have done it that way or done it a different way. One assumption I'm going to make is the number of iterations. Yeah, I'm going to say that we're running, how many iterations have we got? Just in the bottom right corner of Excel here, yeah, we've got 100 iterations. I'm going to assume we're running 100 iterations. You could make this code cool and dynamic to allow the customer to run any number of iterations. I'm going to assume in this case that 100 is sufficient. And it does seem that 100 is sufficient because it gives us fairly, consistent enough results looking at our percentages here. Okay, so, right, there's one thing we do need to do. Don't worry, I'm getting there. Right, so this RANDBETWEEN formula, yep. This is a good example of one of the themes through this week is how many columns to do this with. Now, there's no doubt you can do this model with fewer columns. Does that mean it's the best way to do the model? I argue no. I'd rather have a few more columns and simpler calculations in each column. And I acknowledge there's other points of view. As a friend of mine says, you're welcome to disagree and you're welcome to be wrong. No, that's not true. There's always different ways to do it with pros and cons, but my way is the easiest to understand and should result in the most efficient calculation for Excel. As I said, you're welcome to disagree with me in the chat. So this RANDBETWEEN calculation, we need to extract that from the formula and put it into a column so that we can generate those random numbers separately in a column. So that's going to be our first job. I'm going to go ahead and put a column in, control space, on the Windows PC and Control Shift plus. And then let's say here, random number between 2 and 3, random number between 2 and 3, random number 2 or 3 drives door opened by host. So an informative kind of column header there just reminds us what's going on. Alt HOH 100 should allow us to see all of that text there. So this random calculation, I'm going to, in fact, I may as well copy paste it just to underline this point. Control C, double clicking here, Control V, and then of course we need the equal sign for the formula. Okay, run between 2 and 3. Copy that down. Now that formula, it's not currently linking to the formula we want to link it to. So we need to go into this formula. We can now delete this run between formula that we've created in the adjacent column. Click on this cell instead. So you can see how you're using cells to do calculations, then creating relationships between the cells. And then copy that formula down. Double click. Copy that formula down. Okay, yeah, DC with a good point. Seems a simple solution would be to turn off automatic formula calculation, then just sheet calculate to update the numbers. Let's just briefly investigate this because it's a good point from DC. So DC is saying we can go to calculation and switch calculation to manual. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So now when we input a value, you see Excel doesn't update. That's because calculation is set to manual. When we hit F9, we can then run the model. This is a possible solution. My argument against this is that when Excel is set to manual calculation, it creates all kinds of weird behavior that people just can't handle. And I'll show you some weird behavior now. 3 plus 2 equals 5. Okay. 5 plus 2 equals 5. 10 plus 2 equals 5. This will drive people crazy. Yeah. And as a programmer, it's driven me, I've got in real trouble. Well, not real trouble, but I've spent a lot of time trying to do debugging, and all it was is that calculation was turned off. So I don't recommend switching calculation off for that reason, unless you're using the model yourself. You know, if anybody else is going to use the model, then absolutely I would recommend keeping calculation on all the time, or you'll get some very unnatural behavior in Excel. Just checking down these formulae that we've created. Looks reasonable enough. And now, of course, because we've got our analysis up here, the analysis really summarizes the behavior of the whole model, the output of the whole model. So just by looking at that summary analysis, I can satisfy myself that the model's still working. I'm trying to test that we've integrated that new formula. Is the model still working? So we need random numbers. I'm going to go ahead, create a new sheet in the file. So a clear role for each sheet, because this information, we don't necessarily want it to be visible to the customer all the time. Alt OHR, and let's call it randgen because it's concerned with random number generation. Okay, these two columns, I'm going to copy these in, Control V, Alt HOH 100, and then this column as well. RAM between 2 and 3 drives, door open by host. Okay, then copy that in as well. So what random numbers do we need? Because we need slightly different random numbers for the last column. So in the first two columns, we need random numbers between 1 and 3, and we want 100 of them. Just going to zoom in a bit here, better view for you. So for the first two columns, RAM between 1 and 3. In fact, we can just copy that formula. Control C, back to the RANDGEN page. I'm using Control and page down, and then on my laptop I have to hit function as well. So Control, function and page down. That's allowing me to quickly switch sheets. Control V here. Then I'm going to drag this down because I know we want 100 numbers here. So I'm looking in the bottom right corner of Excel. You can't see it because it's concealed behind me. It'll be outside of your screenshot anyway. But do we have 100 numbers there? 97. So we need 3 more down here, and Control D gives us 3 more entries. So we should have 200 in total now. And I can see in the bottom right corner of Excel, we do have 200 random numbers. So that's all sorted for the original contestant choice and the winning door column. We need a slightly different formula here. This is a random number between 2 and 3. If you go back to the first session, you'll be able to kind of remind yourself what this formula does. But on the engine sheet for door 1, it gives us the 2 possible alternatives. If it's door 1, it's 2 or 3. If it's door 2, it's 1 or 3. If it's door 3, it's 1 or 2. And then it randomly chooses one of those 2 columns. Okay, 21 people with us today. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, so let me know, guys. Are you working along with this, or are you just watching today? Do you just have it on in the background as a bit of, I don't know, a bit of mood music on on a Thursday afternoon? I have no idea, but let me know. Random number between 2 and 3. Right, let's do this. So tab 2, 3. Don't need to close the bracket. Enter, double click here, and I can see in the bottom right corner of Excel we've got 100 random selections between 2 and 3. Quick sense check, yes, they are all 2s and 3s. Good, so now hit the F9 key. So the idea is the generation would continue when Excel calculates on this sheet, but crucially, this sheet is not visible to the user. So it means we can get rid of all that annoying regeneration. Not going to be visible to the user. So next we'll look at integrating VBA, using VBA to get these values into the model. Which brings me to big announcement time. That's the new music for big announcement time. So this is the new course that's going to be released this Friday. It's going to be released, called Excel VBA Business Simulation. And I'm just absolutely fascinated with this topic. It allows you to do so much cool stuff in Excel. It's allowed me to create so much value for my customers over the years. And the way I've set this week up, this Monty Hall problem has been like a bit of a, just gives you a bit of a taster to the power of business simulation, random numbers, generating those random outcomes, building a model around it, and then also the really powerful outputs, you know, the impact of the work. We've managed to prove categorically, really, a problem that's very, very difficult to conceptualize. So it gives you an idea of the power of business simulation. And regardless of all that serious stuff, I think it's just good fun. Random numbers in Excel, it's great Excel practice. If you can enjoy practicing Excel, appreciate that it's play, because it really is play. Seriously, the sky's the limit for your for how you can do with Excel. So we're going to release this course on Friday. It consists of let's go through it. It consists of 25 10-minute videos, which I'm calling 10-minute explainers. They explain a particular aspect of Excel VBA simulation. It might be a particular looping technique, random number generating technique, a particular data analysis technique. So you get 25 10-minute videos. Then you get a walkthrough of me building, a real life simulation model, which is more complex than this one, significantly more complex. It allows you to call on multiple probability distributions, so that you can get data looking exactly as you want it to need. It's actually the file I use when I do random data generation. You're like, Chris, when do you do random data generation? I do it all the time, random data generation. I do it when I'm creating training materials, when I've got to test models. Every week I generate some random data. So I taught you through the process of that, and that's about 5 or 6 hours. And then so you get the 4 hours of explainer videos, 5 or 6 hour walkthrough. The idea is you walk through and try to do it yourself. And then we've got some additional bonus content. I've called in some favors from friends of mine in the industry. We've got an expert in Excel analytics We've done an interview with him talking about the role of Excel analytics and business simulation and business. We've got a walkthrough of a real life business simulation model I built for a customer this year, which is to do with generating simulated football results and generating a football league. Really cool stuff. We've got an hour-long walkthrough of that. All kinds of bonus content sitting around it. And if you sign up to this course, you're actually going to become part of a little community as well, because I'm going to be doing ongoing content for people who get involved with this course. So this is going to be released tomorrow. Maybe the fun bit maybe is that we're going to give one away. We're going to give one away tomorrow, but you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to be watching to win it, okay? I'm going to sell this for about £150. About £150. I'm going to sell this for £150. And it includes support from me, by the way. It includes consultation from me, personal access to me, should you require it. But we're going to give one away in the stream tomorrow. So make sure you're watching from 7 o'clock UK time. You've got to be in the stream. You've got to be in it to win it. And we're going to go Monty Hall on you. We're going to do a Monty Hall type problem. And you can guess which door is the free course behind. And if you get it right, then you're going to get the free course. So very much hope you'll join tomorrow, and somebody is going to get the free course. And of course, it's open for general, general sale after that. And we'll be doing some discounts as well, some special discounts tomorrow. So hope you'll join us tomorrow for all that. So back into our simulation, we're going to need the VBA editor, definitely. So let's open the VBA editor here. No code in this file yet, so we're going to go ahead and insert a module. New module means option explicit, and the name of the macro update model here. Okay, so how might you do this? Well, let's suppose you don't know any VBA. You've got a very kind of practical understanding of Excel, as most people do. Well, you could do this pretty well using the macro recorder. So when we use the macro recorder, we're going to go to record macro here, and then you're going to do what you want the macro to do. You're going to actually do those things in Excel. So we want to copy this column into column C, the second column into column D, and the third column into column F. That's what we're looking to do. So let's try recording the macro for this, and then that might be it. That might get it done. But if we need to update the code or anything, then we can do that. Windows trying to do updates here. NATO saying I'm in, that's good. Dan the Man saying, I'm popping in as I'm not a member. I'm thrilled you're doing the live stream. Over the summer I did your Football League tables and menus, aka Jim. Okay, Dan the Man, you're the man, Dan. Thank you so much for that. And NATO says, I'm in. Good stuff, NATO. Right, macro recorder. Whoops, where's Excel gone? This is really funny. I've actually got an ant crawling across my screen at the moment, but because it's touch screen, I know if I try to move the ant, it's just going to cause chaos with the stream. So the ant is staying. You're just going to have to believe me, you can't see it, but the ant is just going straight across. He's on about cell E4 at the moment, now F3, just going diagonal. Anyway, record macro, shut up and do it, is what you're thinking. Okay, macro name. So let's say update random numbers. Now I did create a macro previously in VBA. When we record a macro, Excel asks us to create a new macro. So that first one I created, we can just ignore it, or maybe we'll delete it in a second. So hit OK. Now in the bottom left corner of Excel, note that you've now got a little stop icon here. I always think that's really quite inconspicuous for how important it is. You need a big red button, like right in the middle of Excel, saying you are now recording a macro. Even less conspicuous is it's going to say stop recording here. They're the only ways to tell, as far as I know, that you're actually recording a macro. So what do we need to do? We need to copy this range. In fact, the first thing we want to do is make Excel calculate, so hit the F9 key. Excel's calculated. Control C. We're going into the model here. Control Alt V and V. Yes, we want the values. Control Alt V V on the Windows PC gives us the values. Why do we want the values? Well, we don't want the formulae because the formulae are going to update every time Excel calculates. We just want the values coming in. Values are in, lovely. Second column. Control Shift down, Control C. Across here, this column, Control Alt V and V for values. Values are in, lovely. So just by navigating to those cells, I can see they're not formulae in the formula editing bar. And finally, got to be a bit more careful now because this column is not the adjacent column. Control C. And then Control Alt V and V for values. And there we are, job done. So now, crucially, you have to remember to stop the macro. So stop recording here. Whew. Now you can relax. I think we've successfully recorded our macro. So does it do the job? Let's do some tests first. Like a typical mistake you might make is, you know, not get the cell right with the copy paste and then, you know, some formulae would still be there at the bottom. So you've got to go through. I'm just checking, are these all values? Just look in the formula editing bar. If there's a formula there, then they're clearly not values. So this looks okay. I think these are all values. Good stuff. DC's had to get going. Ah, Steve's with us. Welcome, Steve Nat. Decorating finished, so should make tomorrow's session. Fantastic stuff. 7 o'clock UK time tomorrow. Would be lovely to see you there. Steve, can I share the joke I made on YouTube? Because I thought it was quite good. Steve was saying, I couldn't watch the stream because I was doing decorating. I was painting a wall, and I said, don't worry, it was probably more boring than watching paint dry. Yeah. Oh yeah. They come for the VBA. They stay for the jokes. Oh yeah. Anyway, Steve gave me a nice little reply and he laughed in the reply. So Steve, you're a legend. You laugh at my jokes. We're going to be friends for a long time, my friend. Okay. What are we doing here? Back to the code. Right. So this is the macro I created myself. So no need to panic. There's no code here, is there? But that's because when Excel records a macro, it's going to create a new module. Very likely to create a new module anyway. So module 2, whoa. Oh, I knew this would happen. Okay. Let's see if we can get this working. And again, I'm going to do this in a very practical way. So it's not going to be maximum efficiency or anything super cool or powerful in the coding. But let's just go through this. And even if you didn't know VBA, perhaps you could go through this and kind of understand what you could delete. Like the first step with recorded code is to get rid of the chaff. Yeah. What do you need here? So this ActiveSheet.Previous.Select, this just looks like rubbish. So let's get rid of these. I know we don't need these. ActiveSheet.Next.Select, Excel up. I don't think we need that. Selection.CopyPrevious.Select. Okay, let's go a bit further down here. You know, at the beginning of this stream, I thought this might take a while, and it will, but it's all good. Okay. So we're selecting B6. Now, something to look out for here is what is the active sheet? What is the active sheet? And bear in mind where we want to start. We want to start on our first sheet, which is called model, in my version of the model. So we're going to run the macro from this button here. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and assign the macro, and the recorded macro was update random numbers. I'm going to do myself a favor quickly and just delete the other macro. So how do you delete a module in VBA? Right click, remove module 1, and then it always gives you an option to export it. So we won't export this one. Yes, we've got to get onto the right sheet. Okay, bear in mind we start on model sheet. So we're definitely going to have to go ahead. I'm just going to reset the indentation here. The pedantic coder side definitely coming out in me here. Let's do that again. So Shift Tab here on the Windows PC, everything indented in nicely. Okay, good. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, Dan's on the money here. Dan's saying that's why you code it manually. Absolutely. Nathan's giving me 6 out of 10 for my joke. Got to try harder, Nathan. Got to try harder. Maybe we'll have a few tomorrow. We'll see. So I did lose a line of code there. So let's select the right sheet here. Model.select. And then what's the first column that we want to copy? Let's have a look. Okay, so it's B6. So if we then say range B6 dot select, and I can see people on the channel quite rightly saying, but you don't need to select the sheet to copy. Absolutely, you don't need to select the sheet. But I'm trying to do this code in kind of a very practical way that you can understand easily if you just step through it. And it's the kind of thing you might be able to achieve really quite early in your coding career. Okay, back to the model sheet. Dot select. Yeah, this line of code is going to select to the bottom of the column. That calculate line of code makes Excel calculate, make Excel calculate, calculate and generate new random numbers. There we go. Okay, so we want to copy that selection. That's all fine. Then onto the model sheet and then selecting C11 on the model sheets. Selecting C11. Yep, that looks good to me. So got to repeat that structure really. So yes, it would be possible to loop through, to do a loop to control this because you're doing kind of the same thing, a similar thing 3 times. This shouldn't be model, this should be RANDGen. Whoops. Now I'm beginning to see some patterns. So that's going to be RANDGen, and this is going to be RANDGen. This is going to be model. Okay, yeah, and then D11, the second one goes into D11. We don't need to select D14. Then D6. Column F we're looking for here, yeah. Back to the model sheet. Okay. Okay, and shall we just add a little bit of organic code? Let's just let the user know that we've generated new random numbers here. So message box new random numbers generated 0, 0, comma, and then something like complete. And that last entry, that controls the title of the message box. So the text at the top of the message box usually says Microsoft Excel. Let's not give them the credit. Let's take the credit and let's put something informative there for the user. Still 21 people with us. Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for being with us. Always the highlight of my day, doing a bit of live streaming. Jasmine's absolutely right. So helpful at the beginning to record the code. And it's a great way of accessing VBA. And this is why I will defend VBA and promote VBA, until the end of my career, is it's a great way for people to access code through the macro recorder. Start the macro recorder, generate your own code, be able to see the code and what's happening in Excel at the same time. A great way to understand not just VBA, but computer programming more generally. Okay, so now let's do it. Let's step through this code and let's see if it's doing the job. So using the F8 key, you can go to debug and step into here. F8, so calculate, Excel is going to calculate now. Now you would have seen we didn't get any changes in the model, no changes in the model because these values are now values. These cells contain values rather than formulae. So we're going to go to the RANDGEN sheet, select B6, there it is, select to the bottom of the column, scroll, I'm going to scroll down and just check that. I've scrolled down and I can see on my screen, yeah, that we're selected to the bottom of the column, that's good. So if you're doing that kind of check where you're checking to see what's selected, you've got to be careful not to click on one of the cells while the macro is running, because if you click on one of the cells, you've then kind of interrupted the macro, you see. So I was just using the scroll bar, being careful not to click any cells there. F8 again, selections are copied, so we can see the marching ants there. Dave Matthews Band, anybody? Jasmine, Dave Matthews Band? Okay, if you know, you know. Then we're going to the model sheet and selecting C11. Okay, and copying in. Now, this is another reason why I like VBA. You know, it's quite intuitive in terms of the language. So if you asked, you know, somebody who knew a little bit about Excel, what do you think this code does? Well, it looks like a paste special. Okay, paste values. Yeah, we're pasting the values in. Jasmine says no to DMB. Oh no. Oh, I think I'm the only person in the world these days who likes Dave Matthews Band. But anyway, is Steve still with us? I don't know. Jasmine says it's whiny. Oh dear. I suppose I'm a bit whiny sometimes, I suppose. Right, back to the RANDGEN sheet. C6 now, selecting C6 to the end of the column. So I'm hitting the F8 key on the Windows PC. Right, got a problem here. Application.cut copy mode. No, we haven't got a problem actually. That should be okay. This application.cut copy mode is the line of code that stops the marching ants. Okay, so it moves you out of cut copy mode. F8, back to the model sheet, D11, yes, that's the right cell, pasting in, beautiful. Right, I'm just checking, do we go to the end of the column? Is it all accurate? Yes, and again, being careful not to select any cells here. Back to the RANDGEN sheet, selecting D6, select to the bottom, copy, back to the model sheet, so this is going column F, column F, there we go. And then paste special. Okay, the values are in. Then we get our message box. Now, just for completeness, not absolutely necessary, I'm going to copy paste this line of code. And this line of code exits cut copy mode. So we'll get rid of that. We'll clear the clipboard, get rid of those marching ants. Okay. So is that going to work if we run this? So you would have seen I hit the stop button there, hit the reset button. That gets rid of the yellow line, moves the VBA editor out of break mode, so we can't step through stuff anymore. Then we're going to run 100 iterations of the model. Steve's still here, fantastic stuff. Run 100 iterations of the model, bang. And there it is, random numbers generated. So yeah, I mean, me being a VBA programmer, I'm thinking that's a little bit jerky. That's not very smooth the way it's generating, but for 99.99% of people, they're going to love that. You know, it's going to be fine anyway, because they're going to appreciate the value that you get out of VBA, you know, automating that potentially, you know, annoying process for them. Okay, and that's it. So now we can switch or stay. Change this back to switch. Suddenly we're winning more. Okay, random numbers generated. And it does mean, of course, you can try different strategy for the same scenario. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. Cool. Okay. So that's how you can integrate VBA into a simulation model to, yeah, do something really powerful, really cool. And yeah, why I really like the Monty Hall problem is it's clear we have to switch. It's absolutely clear we have to switch. And with the Excel model, one, it's fun to build. People can understand the application. And two, it does have a definitive answer. You know, no business problems really, in my view, have definitive answers. But this is one that does. Well, it's not actually a business problem. That's the thing. That's why it's so popular in universities and stuff, because it does have a definitive answer. Right, any final questions then before I give you final reminders about tomorrow? But yes, we are live at 7 o'clock UK time tomorrow. I would love to have you with us for the first time. The first time on the channel, we are doing a giveaway, and I'm going to be giving away the Excel VBA Business Simulation course to one lucky viewer. This is worth £150. I take you through the whole process of business simulation, all the stuff you need to build professional level business simulations that, well, people, you're going to love using in your work. It's just a real wow factor as well. People are like, right, wow, how do you do the random numbers? How do you sample probability distributions and stuff? And there's 25 10-minute explainer videos in there, one long walkthrough, one shorter walkthrough. There's a video with an industry expert. There's other stuff from me. So a nice variety of content. And with the new website, we'll also look at tomorrow, I'll be adding content to this course as well. So when I get questions from people, also included is access to me. You want to have a Zoom call, a Skype call, a StreamYard call, your platform of choice. I'll be, with your permission, I'll be adding those videos to the area for this course. So it's not a static thing. It's going to evolve over time. So I'd absolutely love to see you tomorrow. Any questions? Steve says, I'm waiting for another joke. Maybe tomorrow, Steve. I'll have to go through my repertoire. Steph, good point here from Steph. Haha. In this case, manual coding would have been easier. Yeah, I agree, Steph. Indeed, for an advanced programmer, but you never know. I think recording can be very helpful. Yeah, I mean, I could have coded that manually, reasonably quickly. But for most people, I think watching this stream, a more practical way and demonstrating an approach that you can apply in other situations using the macro recorder, I think that's a useful way. Steph says, Chris, what's your opinion on using Active Sheet in VBA? I've been told it can be risky. Yeah, great question, Steph. My opinion is don't use it if possible. So Active Sheet and Active Cell and Selection, you can use those when you're accessing VBA, beginning to understand it. I used to teach those a lot in my training. Gradually, I've realized it's easier not to teach them at all because it can get you into trouble, Active Sheet. So rather than Active Sheet, get used to using the sheet name. So sheets model.range, sheets engine.range. That means that wherever you are in the file, and indeed whatever file you're on, because you might have more than one file open, your macro is going to work. So I tried as soon as you possibly can. I acknowledge a lot of people start learning with Active Sheet, Active Cell. Try to move away from them as soon as you can. That's called direct versus remote referencing. Active Sheet, Active Cell, that's direct referencing because you're clicking the sheet, clicking the cell effectively. Remote referencing is the code's going to work wherever you are. It's going to work remotely. So that's my view there. Thanks for the question, Steph. Good shouts. Tony Barker, sorry. Tony says, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Tony. Will I see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock? I hope so. Ian, have you heard of the prisoner's dilemma? I have heard of the prisoner's dilemma. I've heard it's similar to this. So maybe, Ian, we should have a little series trying to model that next time. Dan the man. Any free videos coming? Poor guy here. Dan, we've got 250 free videos online. How long would it take you to watch all of those? A month maybe? I don't know. Quite a lot of them last an hour or more. So Dan, get into our free content, my friend. It is going to be there. Looking ahead, I've got a whole new strategy for the channel. Looking ahead, we're going to have a weekly 10-minute video coming out probably every Friday. The long form content will be in the members area or like on the website and stuff. So if you want to get into long form content, it's going to take a bit of a commitment, but it's going to be so worth your time, so worth your effort. Jasmine's put an example of remote referencing in the chat. Thanks for that, Jasmine. Steph says, thanks, Chris, very clear. And Steve says, agreed, avoid using Active Sheet as much as possible. Fantastic stuff, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. I'm pumped for tomorrow, 7 o'clock UK time. I love the fact you're supporting the channel. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care.